What's up, y'all? Y'all know who it is. You know what it is. JP the install guy here to make your install life a little bit easier, and we are here with a small little Q&A. I get this question a lot, and it is when it comes to actually installing a radio, do we have to disconnect the battery first? Well, here I'm gonna show you why you should, and then I'm also gonna tell you why I don't. Before we get into all that, if this is your first time tuning into the channel, please consider subscribing, because these are the type of things that we do here. Car audio tutorials, radio removals, anything car audio install related. That's what this channel is about. And from time to time, I like to spread the car audio knowledge that I have with you, whether you're a beginner or advanced. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get started. So before starting any type of car audio installation, especially when you're doing a radio, it is good practice to go ahead and remove the positive terminal off the battery. You would do that just by taking whatever socket that this goes to. This is probably like either a 10 or an 11. Take that, use your ratchet, take that off, pull the positive off, move it over, probably put something over that terminal. That way this positive, if it does lean over, it doesn't actually touch that terminal, just so you don't end up damaging anything while you're doing your installation. I guess the first thing would be is you don't want to blow any fuses. So you have fuses on the inside of the cabin, you have fuses inside your engine, and if you're hard wiring your radio, if that hot wire touches any type of metal, not just the ground inside the harness, then you could potentially pop a fuse. I know with this Nissan, it has this little bus bar right here, and if you're installing something and one of these pop, you can't just replace one of these fuses. You have to get the whole bar. So that would definitely means that you have to go to the dealership, get this one part, and you would have to replace this whole thing. Also, when you're installing your aftermarket radio, it's going to be easier when you have more room. So when you take these panels off and you're unplugging stuff and that battery is still connected and you start to go test things, and let's just say that the passenger airbag connector is not hooked back up, you can potentially shoot a code over here on the instrument cluster, and then you might have to go to the dealership to go get that code cleared, and who knows how much they're going to charge you to do that. But if you disconnect the battery, you don't got to worry about none of that. You don't got to worry about popping fuses. You don't have to worry about short circuiting any fuses. You don't have to worry about messing up your computer inside the car. You don't have to worry about going to the dealership or a mechanic to get any type of codes cleared from your instrument cluster, all because you've disconnected power from the car, which is very smart. But a lot of times when I get clients that come in for troubleshooting, you have to have the battery hooked up, because we need power to go to the car in order for me to test things about 90% of the time. Also, if I'm putting my radio in, and let's just say I am hardwiring that radio, if I disconnect the battery, then I'm not going to be able to find my 12 volt constant or my 12 volt ignition, because we've disconnected power from the battery. So I usually keep the battery connected all the time. I've been installing for probably about 14 going on 15 years now, and I've never disconnected the battery when I'm installing pretty much anything. But it's all about how comfortable you are. It's really up to your comfort level. If you're really comfortable and you can keep in mind that when I'm installing stuff, there's certain things that don't need to touch, or there's certain things that I don't need to unplug or make sure that it's plugged up before I actually turn on the car, you should be good. Now let me give you some examples. So one of the first things that I usually do when I come in and I'm about to install my radio is I try to find out where the passenger airbag light is. So I would try to look and see where on my dash is the passenger airbag, because sometimes it's on a panel to where you don't even have to unplug it, or you might not even have to take that panel off. On this car, this is a 13 Nissan Rogue, our passenger airbag is right here. So let's just say I go to pop this panel off, because it has to come out in order for me to take the radio out. So I'm popping this panel off right here in real time, and then boom. So if you needed more room than this, then you can go ahead and disconnect everything. But look at how much room we got. Like, this literally is not out the way. So when I take that panel off, if I can just move it to the side and it not be in the way, then I'm not even gonna actually unhook that passenger airbag thing. That way I know in my mind that I don't have to worry about shooting any codes on the instrument cluster, because it's still plugged in. If I had to replace this whole dash, and let's just say that the hazard light wasn't here but the passenger airbag was here, and I had to remove it, then when I unplug it, I just need to make sure, like, keep a mental note in your brain that before you turn this ignition on that car, you need to plug that thing back up. So in my personal opinion, I think where a lot of people go wrong is that when they actually take their factory radio out, one, they go ahead and cut the harness. I never cut the harness. Well, one of the reasons why that I never cut the harness is if a client comes back and they want to put their factory radio back in, I'm not trying to re-hardwire what we just did by cutting the harness. If you just buy the proper harness that you need for your vehicle, then it's going to be easy, because you can take that factory radio out, unplug the harness, and then now you can put your dash kit together on the test bench or the table. You can wire your radio up on the table. If you guys need help with that, then I also have videos showing you how to wire up a CD player. But you just don't have to worry about it, because let's just say you go to cut your harness, you don't know which wire colors go to what, because you have, so there's something called CEA compliant, and basically there are aftermarket wire colors that go to specific things for the aftermarket radios, and the harnesses that you need for your vehicle and the one that's on the radio have to match up. The reason being is because I told you guys all the time, this yellow is 12-volt constant, right? This red is ignition, that black is ground. And that makes sense. But behind the radio, your 12-volt constant might not be yellow. It may be pink with a yellow stripe. Your 12-volt ignition might not be red. It may be green. Your ground might not be black. It may be purple with a red stripe. But you just don't know what the factory wire colors are. And sometimes people would just take some cutters and they'll literally just cut everything at once. When you cut everything at once, the metal on your cutters is going to basically touch the ground and all of your 12-volt stuff all at the same time. When you do that, you just pop the fuse or a series of fuses. Also, sometimes let's just say that you don't have a radio in because you bought a car used and it didn't have a radio, and somebody already cut that harness. If somebody already cut that harness, then you probably have a whole bunch of wires just looking like that, and then if these wires touch, then yeah, you probably already blown that fuse already. But what I like to do, hold on real quick, I need y'all to understand that this is just a simulation, but what I like to do is I like to spread my wires out kind of like that individually to where they're not touching. And I know you're not going to have a harness, but I'm just using this as an example. Your wires are probably going to be like that, but when you take the factory radio out and you have all that room, spread your wires out to where they're not touching. Or one thing that you can do, if you have a wire that's showing like that, go ahead and cut it. Snip that off to where you don't have any wire actually showing, and it's all just insulated wires in there, and then you can strip them one by one and try to go ahead and test each individual wire one by one. If you guys need wire colors and stuff like that, then we'll get to that a little bit later, but those are just some safe practices that you guys can kind of think about if you don't plan on disconnecting the battery. If you've been installing for a while and you always take the battery off, take the battery positive off, then by all means keep doing what you're doing. Like I said, it's all about being comfortable, and it's up to your level of comfortability. I don't know if that's a real word, maybe I pronounced it wrong, I don't know. But anyway, I want to take this time to actually give a special shout out to all of my Patreons. You guys go the extra mile in supporting the channel, so I go the extra mile in supporting you guys with all the behind the scenes footage. If you guys need any type of help with like your wire colors and stuff like that, I give you that information as well with the resources that I have, and that's where I actually do all of my one-on-one coaching and teachings when it comes to installing and all that type of stuff. So we're almost done transitioning from our Amazon store to selling everything off of jpsaudio.com. I will have all those links in the description for you guys, so you guys can go check out the website for the people who want to get the parts for the vehicles that I'm actually working on. So if I don't have a link yet, then just know I will put the part numbers down there for you guys with Amazon links, just so you can go ahead and get the stuff so you don't have to wait. But all those links will be transitioned to where you can have a one-stop shop, get the information from me, and then you can go ahead and get it all in one spot. But if this video has brought you any type of value, or if I answered your question or made you more comfortable, please hit that like button. Don't forget to subscribe, share, comment if you want to. I will have that Patreon link in the description, but if you don't want to be tied down to anything that's too long term, but this video still brought you some type of value, there is that heart at the bottom of the video that says thanks. And I'm not asking anybody to do anything that you don't want to do, but anything that you do is greatly appreciated. So till next time, this is your boy JP signing out. Y'all have a blessed day.